So sometimes you don't have to say your guest name, but just so everyone feels and knows it, it's a third man in the world who is soon about to become the first man of the bodybuilding scene, who is Samson Dauda, of course. Yo.
Hi, what's up? What's up? What's up? How's it
How
going?
have you been doing so lately? It's kind of a stupid question to ask because you have been probably under the cloud nine, but
Oh man,
the thoughts about, because you had higher goals, of course, you wanted to be
yeah,
at Olympia.
of course. And this goals hasn't changed, man. It's just what it is. And the thing is, the main part is you're still moving forward. You're not going backwards yet, and you're not staying still. The main part is whether you're moving 1 inch or you're moving 1 mile, you're still moving forward. And as long as you're improving and doing that, you can't beat yourself up. You got to smile. A job for a bodybuilder is just to be better than your last time. And as long as you're doing that, hell, the reward comes from it.
But still, there were thoughts that you haven't done enough, and those are just thoughts of a sportsman.
Yeah, but the thing is, people are always going to have their opinion and everything else. And I always notice people that tend to have the opinion of the people that are not there. So, for me, I'm just like, look, I don't have time to pay attention to negativity, man.
Yeah, but
I'm
I
living.
meant in your head that you
Oh,
had
yeah.
thoughts that you might have done something better or something like this.
No, not really. Not really, because I know we brought our best package we had to that point in the Olympia. And that one was so evident to see. So, for me, I was over the moon. I was proud of that. I was like, yeah, you know what? I've never looked this good in my life. So for me, I'm just like, you know what? That's it. Job done. I've done it to this point. So when you go on stage, you carry that proudly, knowing that you've done your job and you give it your heart out and you push yourself to the absolute limit you can for that prep and you showed up, bigger, more conditioned, better, and you're still holding your lines and everything else the way you should. So when you talk about in terms of ticking boxes and improvements, if you can see those improvements and you can see, yeah, okay, we've done it. That first and foremost is the reward. You're like, okay, I know I've done my job. Everything from that point is no longer your call. From anything from that point is okay. Now is the judge's decision, is the judge's opinions, whatever they want to decide. But in terms of your job as a bodybuilder, you've done it. So you can hold your head up high and say, yeah, you know what? I'm happy and I'm proud that, we brought our best package.
And therefore, you are the odd man out there in the top three color because you are the tallest, you are the biggest
Yeah.
one. Do you think that the timing of the show might have helped a little bit when it comes to Kody and Derek, as they are shorter, they don't have to carb up this much, they don't have to drink
Yeah.
this much. Perhaps it was mm, the
The thing is,
cause of.
yeah. The thing is, shows always, Olympia's always run at nights. That is nothing new. You play your strengths to that point. You plan your goals to that point. So the shows are run at night. It will never all of a sudden be running in the afternoon or in the morning. So everything else still runs exactly to the plan of what it should be. If anything, it's a lot better this year than it was last year. The show was run on point this year. We didn't arrive backstage till 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. And the minute I walked backstage, everyone was like, okay, you got 20 minutes, get ready and let's get going. So I was like, holy crap, okay. And we got pumped up, got oiled up, and next thing you know, we're on stage. So I don't think the timing has anything to do with anything. I think timing for me, I didn't have a problem with it.
When I was watching the broad stream, the podcast, and
Yeah.
other people speaking about how it went, that they were there and
Yeah.
they saw you at the first glimpse, they were
Yeah.
like, Samson is winning it. But
Yeah.
as it went through, do you think that if Nick would have been there, you would have bigger chances or smaller when it comes to the.
Honestly, I don't think there's because this is one of those things where I don't think there's anything that would have changed. I don't think, anything would have been diverted. But yeah, he probably would have slipped in there somewhere in that top four. We know that. But in terms of like, okay, with the placing all of a sudden be reversed with this person plays higher, with this person play, I don't think so. The thing is, you can spend a lot of time thinking about what if. Okay, what if you were just a little bit dry? What if you were a little bit bigger? What if this guy was there? What if? But that's not how life works. All you do, you take away the positives and you learn from the negatives. Okay, what can you do better? And then you move on. If you spend your time beating yourself up about, okay, if Andrew was there, then there'll be two tall guys, and then maybe you look more balanced. Or if this guy was there, there'll be two shapely guys. Or if Nick, that's not what's happening. You play with the cards you're dealt. So you find guys trying to find reasons after a show to find reasons for them to justify what's happened. And they try to, try to find this way. Oh, if only I did this, or if only they didn't do that, I would have had a better place. Why? It's done. When I won the Arnold Classic, a lot of people say, "Oh man, we didn't think you should have won. Nick should have won." Does that change the fact that the Arnold Trophy is sitting on my table? Does it change the fact that I went home with the prize money? No. So why should I then spend my time picking away at it? So same thing is, if you don't get the place you want, or you don't win, or whatever, if you spend your time picking away at it, you're only going to beat yourself up, and you won't learn from any mistakes. You'll be too busy obsessive about things that you can't change instead of learning from that. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to do the other post-Olympia shows, because it's like, okay, I see what we did here. Okay, can we make it better? And at the same time, can we bring bodybuilding to Europe at the same time? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to see if we can really use this next year and learn from it. So that's one of the reasons I was like, I wasn't going to stand here, spend the whole week beating myself about the Olympia, or trying to feel like, could have been this, or could have. I'm like, no, I love the package we brought to the Olympia. I was proud of the package we brought to Olympia. And now I'm like, okay, how do I make it better? So I moved on to the next show. So yeah, that's always been my thinking when it comes to shows, man.
When it comes to the future shows, as they went post Olympia, do you think that FOLS was your best package ever? Because I'd say so.
Yeah, Prague was definitely my best package ever. Prague was definitely, the thing with me, people, you got to understand with me, it's the idea of what's drying out the skin to a drastic level. Now, with my own experience and what I've learned, not just from me, but watching the sport, there's certain places I won't push my body to. Because as much as, everybody's like, oh, you got to be dry, you got to be dry, you got to be dry. I've seen what happens to guys when they try to achieve that. I've seen where they ended up. And I want to learn from history. And I want to learn that don't push too far and then wind up in the wrong place in a hospital or anything because somebody said, oh, you just got to be this. I'm like, no, I'm going to take my time and achieve this in my safest way possible. If it means I don't win, I don't win, but I still have a walk away with my health. So I'm always kind of cautious about the idea of, yeah, you just got to be dry. Everybody, I was like, yeah, everybody, you always be saying that until one of us ends up in hospital. And then you be like, why is all these bodybuilders, what's going on with all these bodybuilders? Why are they dying? It's always the irony that goes one hand in the other, isn't it? So I've learned from history, and I've learned that, look, the right time will come. When you figure it out perfectly, the safest way, then you can only achieve it once. You can continue achieving it repetitively. So be very vigilant in terms of listening to that words and everybody shouting, oh, just be dry, just be this, and just realize that work your own race. And I remember the one person that actually told me that, and God rest his soul, Cedric told me that in Arnold 2022. He told me straight up, he said, don't let this industry change you. Don't let them push you to do something you don't want to do. And I've been holding on to that all my career since then. I was like, look, regardless of what they say, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it the safest way I can. And until I find a way to lock it up my way, then hell, I don't even say I don't win, then I don't win. But I'm still going to smile and say, but I'm getting closer, So, yeah.
The truth is about the categories and the judging. You don't want bigger men's physique. Don't take them to the first place. Don't take the biggest guy to the first place. You don't want the biggest classic guy. Don't let the first classic guy give it to the shapely guy. You want the best physique on the stage to win. Judge the best physique, not the driest, not the biggest. You need combination. Complete. And when it comes to the, all of these small parts, it's always what people used to now bring. Samson is like 8/10 in each aspect.
Yeah, in every aspect. Yeah.
So what do you want? What do you want to judge? How do you want to keep the sport safe?
Safe. And this is the thing, Dan, what, as much as it is, this is what I'm saying about is being able to be smart and hold strong to your belief and hold strong to who you are. Because you know what if I had pushed everything I could to be as dry as a bone in that stage, and then I win the next day I'm in the hospital? How does that look? It's a reality. It's what's happening. We've seen it all year. We've seen people that failed in that all year. And we've seen people that didn't make it on stage because of that. So that always has been something that I've always had in the back of my mind, that, look, do what you can with what you have. Don't try to push too fast, too quickly, because you're already in a good place. It's your second Olympia and you're ranked top 3. Is it really that bad? Do you really need to be that forward already? So it's like learning from it. And it's like, okay, we've got this far. And, my physique is trying to just draw in one hit. It doesn't work. You end up neither too flat, too stringy, or you give away something that your strength. So what we realize is when we come fill back out, we go back again for another show. And then we do that and we go back for another show. By the time it gets to the second and third show in a row, I'm normally at that level where I need to be. And that's something we learned this year that we think, okay, that's a new information we have to take into the future. Is not trying to just throw it all in the last bit to try to get this one show right, but it's trying to, okay, spread out that process over a long period of time so your body can handle it better.
You know that the first time we spoke, it was 4 years ago. When you were going back to the memories that you have from there, did you even imagine, as you said, you were third in the world. You have won Arnold Classic, and a year ago, basically 2 years ago, you had troubles with even getting the qualification.
Get to the Olympia. Yes. And that's why I say, nobody can ever make me feel disappointed or bad for my performance. It's impossible, because all I have to do is just stop for 5 seconds and say, where were you back in 2020? Where were you in 2021? You were fighting and traveling up and down the place trying to get a qualification just to go to the Olympia. You could barely make a show just to go to Olympia. 2 years later, you're fighting to win the Olympia in your top 3. You have an Arnold Classic win. Who could say that? Who could how can you see that and think, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed now? It's insane. It's insane. And I look back at it, and honestly, I'm still just unarmed. I'm still in shock on it. I'm still trying to get it to process this big move. And it's like, man, you can't help but smile and go, holy shit, this is crazy. I can't believe it's happening to me. So I'm sorry, but that is always there. It's always permanent, because for me, this isn't something, it's not 5 years ago. It's not 10 years ago. It was only 2 years ago. I can remember where I was this exact week 2 years ago. And then you're looking at it now and you're thinking, how can you be this one? How can you not be happy? And honestly, that's why I said, look, I'm on cloud 9. I'm not living the dream.
When speaking about the future, Arnold Classic is coming.
Yes.
And we've heard plenty of names that want to enter. Probably Kody is coming, which in my eyes is not smart for him to compete on Arnold Classic stage. Because
Don't tell him that.
You know why? Because first of all, they judge aesthetics more. And he, compared to you, is not going to be as aesthetic. Nick already
learned that lesson.
That's the truth. Not offense to Nick. He was big, he was hard, but it's Arnold Classic.
It's Arnold Classic.
Big Ramy, I heard that he might jump in. Brandon, I think that he's still disappointed somehow about his placing, and he was basically 2 days without eating and still took fourth.
That's great.
And of course, Nick, as we spoke, Nick is... I think he's considering it because he has something to prove, and he's considering the special invite. So how do you feel about the future competition, which is going to be insanely hard?
I think it's absolutely awesome, and I think, it's going to be insane, and I'm waiting for that list to come out to see who's going to jump in it, because as soon as, I didn't even hesitate. As soon as it was coming, I already knew right from last year I was going to do the Arnold Classic almost every year I can. For me, it's like, no-brainer. So for me, it's like, okay, you're focusing on that, and you know what, anybody who jump in, like I said, last year, it's like when they all jumped in, I was more excited than anything, because it felt like it was an opportunity for me to prove myself and do that again. So I take it on board like that, like, okay, it's an opportunity to prove yourself. So anytime you get that opportunity, it's like you go for it. It gives you that drive to go for, okay, this is the Arnold Classic. Aesthetic, mass, everything comes into play a lot more. Posing, presentation comes into play a lot more. This is my kind of stage. So with that said, it's like, hell, anybody jumps in, it's just more exciting for me, because I'm like, okay, now I get to push that boundary and push to see what else can I do on a stage like that. So for me, it's just exciting, and I can't wait.
When speaking about, there is often question that has been asked, would you rather win 5 Arnolds in a row or 1 Olympia?
I don't know, man. They're both this. For me, Arnold is just a special. The Olympia is the Olympia. There's no getting away from it. Olympia is like the number one. Yeah. But at the same time, after winning Arnold and how disbelief I am about it, I'm like, man, I'm grateful for both. I'm grateful to be able to, I'm grateful to be able to be top 3 in the Olympia. You know, I'm grateful to be this close. I'm grateful to see that, okay, I want to win the Olympia and I'm that close to it. But at the same time, would I give that up if it means not having an Arnold win? No, I freaking love the Arnold. I love the idea of it. I love that part of it. And it's the second biggest show in the world. I mean, like, you know, it's special. And the fact that it's so early in the year and it starts the year off with a bang, and then you get to finish off with Olympia, it just sets up nicely, man. It gives you something exciting about. So yeah, man, I honestly, I don't know if I could pick one or the other. But for me, it's like, look, get as many wins and as many trophies as you can, either the Olympia or the Arnold, but just keep getting them. And then when you finish your career, you can decide, okay, which one did you want more and which one would you give up for the other.
You know, Urs said it nicely that imagine finishing your career and having like 20 wins under your belt.
Oh, man. Imagine that, you know. I mean, this is one where you can look back and say, okay, yes, I did everything. Everything that could have been achieved, everything that could have been done, I did it. So for me, I think that is one thing that I really want to have by the end of my career, to say, okay, you won. What didn't you win? What did you feel like you have left to accomplish or you have left to prove? Well, nothing. You've done it all. And that one for me, once I've got that, I think I'll smile and say, okay, yeah, my career is exactly where I hoped it would ever be.
And we know as well that you grow best from the rebounds. So you are basically, it's a perfect scenario because now you're going to have smooth rebound, move down, because we're now like 13 weeks out.
Yeah, 13 weeks from the Arnold.
Yeah, so since like 3-4 weeks more of pushing up, and then
pushing up, and then coming down real hard for the Arnold prep. And it's just one of those techniques we learned, you know, 2020 we learned that, from 2022 we learned that. Last year, coming off the Olympia, we only had 11 weeks. And we only rebound for 2 weeks, and we came back down and we made crazy improvements. So we sort of figured out that, okay, how to use the rebound to maximize my physique and make it change in such a short time. So when this one came in, it was like, yeah, come on, man. Just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, it's worked time and time and time again. So hone in, do what you do, rebound up, make improvements in any body parts you want to make improvements to, and then suck down for the Arnold. And let's just see what's there on the stage, you know. And, you know, once again, you always seem to improve in those short times where people think it's impossible. And they're like, wow, how do you change that much in that time? So just keep doing what you're doing.
How badly Fuad got mad after having to pay you the double price?
Man, I think, you know, everybody was so shocked because, you know, they weren't expecting me to kind of do, you know, go off and do other European shows, because like, you're very qualified for the Olympia. What are you doing? Why are you doing? It's like, come on, man. Look, it's bodybuilding. We're meant to compete. We're meant to do this. And you know what? I remember like when normally we do the Olympia, those guys just come to Europe and do the European tour. And they used to do shows all everywhere. And we used to be able to, at least for the people that can't go to the Olympia and can't watch it, you get a chance for you to watch them live in your place where you are, where you can travel to. So I used to love that. That used to be one of the fun times, because Olympia was almost like, okay, that was the biggest beginning. And then you had these small shows that happen afterwards that just keeps you excited. And for a long time, that hasn't happened. You know, now it's almost like you don't get that anymore. So I felt like, you know what, that's one thing that I always used to enjoy and used to love. And it's like, I wanted to bring that back, man. I wanted to be able to, like, okay, make the shows post-Olympia just as exciting as you would going to any other show that's pre-Olympia, you know, make it really exciting like that. So for me, it was awesome, man. I really ended it. And Fuad was just like, man, dude, are you serious, man? How much bonus do you want to get?
Yeah, and why did you skip the Japan? Because there was as well a good price, and Japan crowd is insane.
Yeah, Japan's crazy. I mean, for me, it's just obviously, like I said, if I wasn't doing the Arnold, I would have jumped in and go to Japan as well. Okay. But we wanted to start the rebound process earlier, so that way we know I get a week of rest, start the rebound process, and then coming down for the Arnold. And I think if it wasn't for that, I probably would have done the Japan. But it was almost like, even, you know, Mila's only wanted me to do Romania. He didn't want me to do Prague. So he was like, ooh, you know, he's pushing it. And it was like 2 weeks after. I was like, come on, it's just 2 weeks. It's like, but he's still pushing it. But so trying to do the Japan one more week, I think would have been definitely taking the mark. So I think, you know, we just kind of called it great. And Japan is a long travel as well. It's not just a quick weekend. You're going to be there for a while. So do it just like, look, do the 2 European ones and then call it quits so you can then rest up. And then you can get your head back in again and start prepping again.
What are the things that you have to improve the most? Because you have probably spoke to the...
Yeah. So one thing, we obviously we know where we managed. I mean, this is post Olympia, not post Prague. Wanted to be drier, so we worked on that with the post Olympia show. By the time we got to Prague, you know, Steve was saying, yeah, this is a lot better than the Olympia, a lot more dry, a lot more harder to get it there. And me personally, the things I want to improve on mainly is just like before. I want to keep improving my back. I want to really make it much more dense and much more wider than what it is now. That's my personal thing. I mean, we've seen how much we've brought it up in a year. So in another year, where we're going to be. So for me, that's one exciting thing I want to do. And as well as I want to improve everything. I want to make sure that every muscle group is a lot better than what it is. You know, be it from arms, legs, quads, calf, everything. I want everything to look much more just overblown. And it's not necessarily now, at this stage, it's not the point that we need more size. So that's not something that I'm even concerned about at all. It's just having that much more density, you know, just that much more refined density to the muscle. So for me, I think after the Arnold going into off-season now, it'll probably be the easiest off-season I've ever had in my life, because for the first time, I don't have to get bigger. I don't have to put on anything else. I just have to train like I normally do. Don't have to shovel in so much food. Just coast it through. And we know we're going to improve off that. So for me, I'm excited. I'm more excited for that, because it's going to be one off-season where I can actually be like, okay, all I got to do is train. I ain't got to force feed any food in.
But you haven't changed your training style.
Nope.
You are not going to change it.
No, because it's working. And this is the thing is, if you find a formula that seems to work well for you, so each year we improve drastically muscle groups. And each year, up to now, touch wood, we haven't suffered one single injury yet. You know, everything, if you have that formula where you're getting better, you're improving each muscle group, you're getting better, and you are not suffering from any injury or anything drawbacks from that, why would you then try something else and change it? You know, the formula is working. Until the point where it no longer works, or something is like, okay, we need to get this is not working for that, then you can recompromise. But for now, if it's working, stick to it.
Are you planning on any collaborations as the videos, as the social media? Because you have just done one with Urs, which was hilarious. And
yes.
You have loads of UK great bodybuilders who are just about to start their preparation to the upcoming shows. Let's call it that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's for sure, man. For me, I'm always up for, you know, I travel a lot, you know, that's one part of my thing. So I'm always up for doing collaboration videos, especially wherever I go to meet guys and sort of learn. The thing is, I learn from guys I train with. I learn from guys that do things. I learn the way they do it and see if you can pick up any tips to sort of help improve your game. So any opportunity that I get for someone to say, hey, look, you're around my ends, come train with me, let's do a session. I'm like, hell, let's go for it. And as well, you know, I want to bring guys from the US over here, because there's always this perception that, you know, you have to go to the USA to get better. Well, I've proven that that's not the case. If anything, you need to come over here to get better, you know? So, you know, for me, I want to start pulling guys to Europe and say, look, we've seen the way you guys done it. We've come with you, we've trained with you, we've seen it. Now maybe you guys need to come to us and see how we do it, because we do things a lot more raw and a lot more hardcore over here. So yeah, you all need to come to Europe and actually see how we get down.
Yeah, as well, the Prague as the crowd was insane. They had vuvuzelas even.
Yes.
I was watching the stream, and it was like, oh, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the vuvuzela, man, that crowd, oh man, European crowd, I don't know what it is, but they are just live, man. They really love the idea of bodybuilding. They really love the opportunity to see and watch bodybuilding and support it. So when you're here in the crowd, man, they did everybody pose down. Literally, we did them pose down and open. They had everybody in there, you know, men's physique, 212, bikini, we all jumped in there, massive pose now. And the crowd was wild. They loved it. And, you know, you see that, and you see that kind of admiration, you see that kind of feedback from the crowd of how much they missed this, how much they love this. And you're thinking, man, you know what? We got to have more of these shows down here. We got to, because look at them. They love the idea of having us here and competing in front of their home and everything else. So why would you do it, man? I'm proud of more than what. I mean, both Romania and Prague were sold out.
Yep.
So if that is not a telling concept of how much they want to see bodybuilding, I don't know what is. And I know the Arnold UK is happening next year, you know, early part of next year. And I can tell you now, that show is going to be sold out as well. Because I know that everybody's longing to see bodybuilding again here in Europe. So yeah, it's going to be great.
You know, the one country that I'm kind of thinking about that should have their pro show of course, besides Poland, it's Germany. Because look how many of the great
German
competitors, coaches.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, honestly, because Earl said that to me the other day, and we said on podcast, and I'm just talking, holy crap, actually, that's true. They haven't had a pro in Germany yet. I'm like, this is crazy because they got a big international airport, they got all the facilities, they got German pros, they got so much there, and you think that this would be one of the places that you would have a pro show at this point, and the fact they don't have one is actually quite surprising to me. And I think seriously, that's one place that I know that a lot of people would be happy to fly to go to Germany to go watch a pro show.
It's close.
You know, it's so close and it's so like accessible. So yeah, man, I'm surprised. I mean, you got so many big freaking, you know, areas in Germany that you could have a show from Frankfurt, Hamburg, Berlin. Like there's so many places that you can have pro shows happen. And it's like, man, I'm surprised they haven't had one yet. So hopefully, you know, next year or so, we're going to see one in Germany for sure, because one of the promoters definitely have to, you know, get that in, because that is going to be amazing.
I think loads of depends on Fibo, you know, how it plays out. Because if Fibo is again going to rise up as the, you know, as the event, then we might have, because as you said, there are so many great athletes, coaches, and so many great people, and so many opportunities and places to have it in. Why not? It's because they had it, you know. And I remember Dorian was one of his best shapes in Germany.
Yeah, because I'm surprised that even like in Fibo, if they have not having a show there, because Fibo is right in that cusp of competitive season. So I think, you know, it's probably around the time where they do the Indie Pro normally. So since if the Indie Pro is not happening next year, having a show in Fibo will be freaking bang on. You know, this will be the nice way to sort of get the competitive year started. So yeah, you know, this one is definitely, because you got, I think next year you got Detroit first or something like that. But having Fibo have a pro show, man, it's going to be live, because even that one I want to freaking go to.
I heard you're going to go to the Detroit as a special exposure.
Yes. So I've been invited, obviously, to go to Detroit. I'm going to watch this on show support, especially obviously for the Hostile and is their show sort of happening there. Detroit is going to be wild. I think that's going to be a nice show, especially being, I think it's not far off, you know, starting New York afterwards. So
and
I think
he's competing there as well, I heard. And Sibon is doing open.
Oh man! Oh man!
That's what Fuad is joking about. You know, he's like, yeah, Phil Heath is coming back. Jay Cutler is going to do his.
Oh, everybody's coming back. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have my popcorn sitting there front row seat watching, because this is gonna be a freaking live. But honestly, from what I'm hearing, you know, I know that he's literally trying to put on a big show, and he's already admitted that, okay, he might not make money back from that show, but he wants to make sure that the show is so big and so wild that athletes get treated so well that it becomes one of them big shows of the year. So I know this one is going to be crazy. I don't know, you know, Lil Bert's telling me that he's giving out some crazy prize money and some crazy gifts as well. So yeah, this one, because I even told him when he first said, I'm going, if you're giving that out, man, I want to compete. He's like, no, you can't. I'm like, dude, okay, I guess I'll come watch them.
Wonder if he's going to have a black curtain besides the competitors. Now that he has everything, nothing can stop him.
Nothing can stop him. So now he can show how the stage is supposed to run. Black curtain with no memorabilia, no sponsorship, just black. So
you know, Hostile is gray, so it can fit.
Yeah, gray, black with gold right there, dude. You might be able to pull it off and get the decent lights as well. So make it really, really freaking awesome. So, you know, I like, what's the show they always used to use for it? I think it was the Night of Champions or something like that.
New York Pro.
They had that black curtain, but they had great, awesome lights. So, you know, anybody can replicate that on stage, man. That's a show that I want to go to.
The British Grand Prix as well had great ones.
Yes, another one. Brilliant lighting, brilliant backdrop. I mean, hell.
Yeah, when Kevin posed there.
Yes. Oh, man.
Killing in the name of, I think.
Yeah.
The good old times. When it comes to the social media, I realized that you have put as well a lot of your work there, because you are being seen not only on the Instagram, but as well you have done basically daily vlogs on your YouTube channel. Yeah,
because, you know, like, I know, you know, when we don't have guys, especially when you're this guy's at the top of the open game, you normally don't have a lot of guys that put a lot of content out there when they're at this top of the game. You don't see, because my thing is always, I wanted people to follow my journey from the start to where it is now. And I want them to see what it takes to compete at this level. and not just the good, but the bad and the great and everything that comes with it. So I always want to put a lot of content out to show people, okay, what does it feel like to compare this level and what goes into the thinking of it? Because I know that people have questions. They're like, okay, why don't the open guys compete more? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Why don't they, why don't they travel here? So for me I'm now in that position where it was time where I was looking there and I always have those same questions. Okay, why don't they do this? Why don't they? So now that I'm here, I'm like, look, I'm not just gonna go quiet and disappear and only put out a picture now and then and just stay quiet. Nobody really knows what's going on. I want to be as visible and as clear as possible so people can see and follow the journey and say, okay, right, that's how you go from here to here. This is what he's doing and everything else. And I really want to put that content out and just to kind of, show people that, because I know when I was coming up, I was looking up to those top guys to see how they do, what they do, and how they get things done. And just for insight, from my point of view, it's like, okay, give someone else that insight when they're coming up to see what the life is like at that level, and what actually was realistic and what isn't. And when you see that, you can then decide, okay, is this a dream or goal that you want to chase? Or is this something that you think, nah, it's too much for me? But you get a full answer about, okay, it's doable. It's possible. So, I mean, I've just seen someone do it. Someone just came from all the way from here, all the way there. And I'm in this position. If he can do it, why can't I? So to sort of give out that message and sort of show people how it's done.
What I've liked about those, not only the YouTube, but as well Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Those, weekly, let's call it like confessions.
Yeah.
And, I like the honesty, because I remember when you were like in a deep prep. It was like 2 weeks before the Olympia, and you were literally hanging to a chair. Cerberus was running somewhere around. If this dog catches anyone's head, it's done.
It's done.
Good that he's treated well and fed well in your house. But I remember all of those times that you weren't only you weren't only recording when you were happy, but as well as when you felt terrible, you kept doing it.
Yeah, and the thing is, especially for us that do this sport, we know that there's a lot of dark times in prep. We know that we struggle. We know that it's hard. I mean, look, everybody goes about, we all say bodybuilding is a hard sport. It's the hardest sport you can do. It's the hardest sport you can do. But then when they ask somebody, why is it hard? What have you done? Everybody goes quiet. They're like, oh, yeah, I have to diet, I have to train. Yeah, but you do that anyway. Why is it hard? Why is it really hard? And nobody ever want to speak about the mental side of how hard, what it takes to do this and why it's so psychotically crazy. And because we're all so quiet about it.
So sorry for our smooth problems, but everything is working hopefully fine. Yeah. We got the the previous whole conversation saved, so it's great. You were speaking about what's so hard about bodybuilding and showing it on the social media.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like with bodybuilding, man, it's not the physical aspect. I think we all know that we can all diet and we can all suffer and we can all train hard in the gym. I mean, this is why we do the sport. We love that part. But what happens is obviously the mental side of the journey. That's the most difficult side, is dealing with it mentally. And it's such a all-consuming sport that you can't walk away from it. You're 24/7, you're thinking about it. 24/7, you're wondering, okay, how is your physique? How is everything? And, when you then add, obviously, the PEDs we add to it, it enhances that aspect of it. And that's a bit that becomes a struggle. How you're waking up and you're going close to the night of the show and you can't sleep. You're literally up 24 hours. I mean, your mind doesn't shut down. You're contemplating and breaking down everything. The pressure of performing, everything else comes into play. And, I just wanted to show that because I know a lot of guys, I know for a fact we all go through it. But nobody likes to speak about it. But we like to say, oh, the sport is hard. Or this sport is hard. But we never have to say why it's hard. We never said, look, what makes this sport so hard? And it's dealing with that mental struggle and going through that. That's one of the hard parts. So I wanted to show it. So for all of us that sort of go through it, and they, people that struggle through this and they think they're alone, they don't know that, it's normal. We all go through it. Some people, some guys don't understand that this is how the sport is. You are going to struggle mentally. You are going to feel irritable. You are going to be, psychotically fighting with everybody and want to just want space and want your own time, and everything will irritate you more than what it would normally. You are going to feel miserable. You are going to feel like down. You are going to feel depressed some days. You're going to feel great some days. You're going to feel, your emotion is going to be up and down the whole time. So this is part of it. Even so, when someone even at the top level is telling you they go through it too, you don't have to feel like you're alone. You don't have to feel like, oh well, I don't know what's wrong with me. But yeah, we all go through it. So it's trying to get that out there and try to show not just people that are competing, but people that have family members that are competing, a loved one that's competing. They go, I don't know why he acts so difficult during the prep, why he's so miserable and he's so depressed and he's so angry. I don't know what's going on with him. And make them understand that it's not okay, but it's part of the process. It's we all go through it. It's one of those things that makes it very difficult. Is the fact that you're not yourself when you prep. You're not your full self when you prep, and that part you see only lasts for the prep. Eventually, it does come out of it, and you do feel better again. So when something like that has been going on for almost 16 to 8 weeks and like stuff like that, someone that knows you almost thinks that, oh, bodybuilding has changed him. He's no longer the same. He's not the same guy. Not knowing that it's because of what he's going through at that time. Once that's done, you do get your person back. But at that time, this is one of those things that come through phase of it. So we're just trying to educate people to understand that, yeah, this is one of the reasons why bodybuilding is so hard. Is dealing with the mental battles that come along the way and trying to get the support you need to say, okay, your loved one to understand that, okay, this is part of it, so we can support you through it. And even for yourself to sort of understand that, yeah, this is not you, it's just what the process is. So to, okay, distance yourself and divide yourself from this is my personality now or to this is just what I'm going through because of this. So having that divide sort of let calm down a little bit and realize, okay, it sucks, I hate it, but it's part of the process.
Yeah, people have to understand as well that, for example, they are saying like, oh, Samson is so lucky because he's got Marlena. Marlena have seen the darkest side of Samson.
Oh my God.
She sees
Yes.
it every prep, probably. And you are not denying it. You are just showing that those things happen to every of us. Yeah. And so, as well from the different side, because she as well speaks about it. She isn't like, she isn't like...
exactly. Because you can always say, like, with me, people see my relationship with her and they say, man, you're so lucky. And I was like, yeah, I am lucky. There's no getting away from that. But don't misunderstand that with, oh, there's no problems there. We don't understand. We know because we've been through, and look, she's been there my very first prep to my very last one. Every single prep, she's been literally by my side. So she's seen the change. She's experienced the hardship that comes from prep to prep to prep, and how dark it gets and how negative it gets. And one thing that I always say to people, like, if you have a partner that you're going through prep with, don't block them out. Don't keep them out. Speak to them about it. This is one thing that I never used to do in the past. I used to just be angry, be miserable, be raging, and mood is constantly switching. And they don't understand what's going on. They don't know. They just think, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Why are you so volatile? What's going on with you? They don't understand that. But the minute you calm down and start to speak to them and you start to tell them, look, I don't feel too great today. I feel really down today. I don't think today's going to be a good day. I'm trying my best, but yeah, I'm struggling right now. And you speak to them about it, they start to understand, and they start to understand how to sort of navigate around you and give you your leeway and say, okay, let's work through this together. And this is one thing that I kind of pride myself that knowing that this is one thing as a relationship we sort of now understand. Doesn't stop it being hard. Believe me, because when you're in it, you're in it. It doesn't stop it being hard. But once it calms down, you both can be like, man, look, I'm sorry, man. That was bad. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, that was bad. But you know what? We're through it. So it's trying to understand and have that verbal conversation with the person you're with, because they don't know what it feels like. They don't. They see it, but they don't know what it feels like. If you don't tell them, they just think that you're just a douchebag and a bastard, and they're just thinking, I want to get the hell away from you as fast as I can. So being able to have a conversation, just say, look, this sucks, but it's part of what we do. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna try to give you insight, and try to find a way for us to work through it together. So that's just one thing that I know that with me and Mel, we've sort of gone through years and years and years, being able to talk through it. And even then, she's been able to say, okay, right, when you do this, you're your worst. So let's avoid that. Let's try to get it this way. And let's try to change things up and try it this way. So we try to find a way to navigate around and try to make it the most convenient way for both of us as possible.
So as you see, guys, bodybuilding is all about progression, but not only progression of your body, but as well of your mind and as of how you act and how you understand the whole process. One last question, Samson, before we go, because I just don't want this thing to ruin everything, because we're having a great conversation. Is there a smooth, let's call it a rivalry? Because on the Arnold Classic stage, we are probably going to have a battle for the best UK current bodybuilder, which is you versus Nathan, because I heard that Nathan is going to Ohio, and versus James.
Yeah, I mean, that for me, I would love to have that. I would think that would be freaking cool. Even if it doesn't happen in Ohio, let it happen in the UK. Because I think this is one of those battles that people love watching and people love seeing. I mean, I think the first one was 2019 when we did the British Championships. And since then, you know, we haven't had, all three of, I don't think the three of us had the opportunity to stand on stage together. Actually, we did again in, since then, I think 2019 was the last time. So even though we've all stood on stage with each other at some point separately, well, three of us being on stage hasn't happened for a long time. So being in a Arnold Classic stage and having that, I think that would be cool. I think that would definitely be, you know, something that get the crowd going and something that would be like, yeah, it'd be damn good, easy to watch.
And loads of have changed as well. You are now friends because you have that's what I liked as well. You have spoke. People were like posting pictures of you and Nathan speaking.
Yeah.
They're like, what's that? And I've commented saying that's two grown men figuring their shit out so they can live like a civilized people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the thing is, you know, bodybuilding is one thing where we're highly competitive. And don't anybody who thinks that, oh, it's all kumbaya and shaking hands. No, we wouldn't be this level if we weren't highly competitive. And that comes with bumping heads. And that comes with like, look, trying to get in each other and try to get past each other. It's just part of the sport. What comes with it. The difference is when you make that personal. You know, the idea is you got to understand that most of those things that you see, whatever on social, whatever, is never personal. Don't ever make it personal. Don't ever take it personally. So when you meet each other face to face, it's understanding that, look, I can shake hands with you regardless of what you say about me, whatever. I can shake hands with you and say, look, it's not personal. Let's just bear and let's just move on. And it's being able to do that. Once you're able to do that, you know, it makes for a much more interesting sport. You know, it's just the idea of, look, let bygones be bygones, man. There is no point for it. You know,
people don't understand as well one thing, that when, for example, I said that Samson got to work on his back, it's not like I'm saying Samson is a horrible person.
There we go.
I'm just telling it as someone, for example, would be commenting on the football match and say this guy could have improved on his left leg play.
Yep, exactly. And this is it, you know, it's feedback in that sense, and it's what we do. This is the sport we do. You know, there's a whole different thing with bringing your physique to be judged than to say something personal to someone, you know. So it's knowing the difference of not taking something, a critic, like as a personal jab against you. It's knowing the difference about it and just be like, look, yeah, okay, cool, we'll see. And then that's it. Anything else, if you take a person and then you start lashing out and start, you know, he said this and he said that, then we're just talking about children. We're grown men. We don't need that. We don't need that. It's being mature enough to say, okay, well, cool. I'm going to work on it, and then I'm going to come back on stage and we're going to see. That's what makes the sport so interesting, you know?
And I hope that you're going to keep making it interesting, especially we as Europeans are grateful for your impact that you are bringing to the stage as well. Because you didn't have to compete. You could have said like, I'm qualified. I don't care. But you have done it. You are the man of your word. And I wanted to say it because people are like, some people are different when they speak about to you. When they are about to get it done, they suddenly change their mind. They're like, we'll speak tomorrow, or I will come next day, or we'll see.
They change their mind.
I remember that when we spoke pre-Olympia, you have said, you have told me clearly, post-Olympia, we're doing the podcast. And here you are. You are not, even though, whatever. Thank you, Samson, for taking your time. If you guys want to follow Samson, in the description below, we are going to have the links to YouTube, Instagram, and so on. So please do so and show him love, show him support, because Arnold Classic is coming, and that's what we are waiting for.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for having me back on. I always like our little chats and the opportunity to do this. So, man, I really appreciate it, man. Dude, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great time and stay injury-free.
I will do. Thanks, man. Thank you.